In separate New Year's speeches, the leaders of both Russia and Ukraine vowed to push for victory over each other. Fresh blasts were heard in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, and around the country. Russia bombed cities across Ukraine on Saturday, sending a barrage of over 20 cruise missiles. Kyiv Mayor Vitali Klitschko said at least one person was killed, and a Japanese journalist is among those injured. And for more on this, let's bring in our correspondent in Kyiv, Emmanuel Chaz. Emmanuel, 2023 in Ukraine, as we just heard, off to a very rough start. Tell us the latest about the attacks, if you would.
Hi, Nick, and Happy New Year first. Yes, very hard time here in Kyiv. We've just been through 3 days of constant airstrike threat and airstrikes. We had 3 nights with missile attacks. Just last night, there was a very, very long threat which lasted 4 hours, during which 32 Shahed Iranian drones were shot down over Kyiv. Yesterday, missiles struck the capital, the Ukrainian capital. There's a hotel which had been hit, and you mentioned it earlier. 22 people were injured, someone died. So very, very rough times to end 2022 for Ukrainians and to begin this new year, 2023. And
you spent, as did many residents of the capital, a good part of the night in a bomb shelter with Kyiv residents who knew, of course, the rest of the world was ringing in the new year with joy. What's the morale among people there?
Well, it was pretty strange, especially those past 3 days, as I mentioned, because we people here living in Kyiv, we spent so much time underground, just, hearing explosions outside, sometimes here in the city center, with walls shattering, with windows shattering as well. So it's very scary. And we've heard in the report this woman saying she was hoping for a miracle. Yesterday, people in the morning, it was a beautiful morning, a sunny morning, the last day of a very hard year. People were looking forward to celebrate. Instead, they were stuck underground. They were hearing explosions above them. They live in fear. Of course, they're resilient, but there's fear there as well, and there's a sense of dread because they don't know when this all will end.
And the President Volodymyr Zelensky, made, as presidents do, a New Year's address. Tell us more about that and how it was received, if you don't mind.
Well, this address was very particular. I was talking about it earlier with Ukrainian friends who told me all the people that I know he watched this address. They wouldn't necessarily do that every year, but this year is so particular. And this year really also saw Volodymyr Zelensky gaining, the trust of every Ukrainian. Many people here didn't vote for him as a president, but then he really revealed himself as the country's leader on February 24th. And Ukrainians at the moment really rally around him, and his speech was very much centered on Ukrainians themselves, on their, their solidarity, on the fact that they had to stand together to face this terrible war that is unfolding against them. So this address was very much followed, very much appreciated as well, and very emotional.
Okay, as well, one can well imagine. DW's Emmanuel Chaz reporting for us from the Ukrainian capital. Thanks so much.